All right. I'm going to try to record a message with Gerald because, Gerald, you there?
I'm here.
Okay, so you asked me a really specific question. I wanted to answer it and get it on video so I can share with my friends and family who've asked me a couple times about how to buy in Indonesia or like the top 10. So which question do you want to start with?
How about the top 10, ROI places that would be ideal for you to invest in, or for one coming into invest into a property?
So the top 10 cities. You want to know what the top 10 cities? Okay.
Definitely, top 10 cities to invest in.
Okay, so when you buy property in the top 10, you have to look at like ROI, which is return on investment. And that's really influenced by like certain factors, economic trends, individual property characteristics. There's like no guarantees, but it has to show like potential favorable returns on the property. So I would say the number one would be actually Berlin, Germany. Most of the market there is very experienced in high growth in the last few years. So it offers like a lot of capital appreciation and there's strong demand and limited supply in Berlin. I think number two would be Istanbul, Turkey. That's actually an area that I wanted to look into, and that's also rapid urbanization and economic growth, which is a high indication of like attractive property investments. And so they do a lot of government initiatives over there to contribute to attractive returns. So like it's easier for a foreigner to buy in Istanbul. Number three is another one that I would look into, which is Lisbon, Portugal. And that area is a high growth, like opportunist for tourism and government incentives. So like it combines like affordability and potential for rental income. The only city that is number four is probably Austin, Texas, where I live. It's probably the most thriving, strongest economy. Yeah, and it's like the vibrant tech sector. It has growing population. Demand for rental properties is really high. It's an attractive area of like high return. Like my property grows about 20% every year. I'll speak to the rest. Five is Manchester, UK. It's a vibrant economy, a lot of regeneration projects over there. The city offers like capital appreciation and like rental yields, which is very different from a lot of other countries. Number six is Medellin, Colombia, actually. Medellin is like really high in economic development and market opportunities, like a lot of emerging growth in terms of infrastructure, tourism, affordable rent, like all indicators of like a potential investment property. I would say number 7, 8, 9, and 10 are close, very close. So 7 is Krakow, Poland, actually. Poland is actually high in tech sector. A lot of cultural attractive like tourism. Again, capital appreciation. 8 would be Auckland, New Zealand, and that is more of a large city hub for business and commerce. So like if you want to buy business and commerce, combine it, it's a really potential for like both sides, right? So the housing supply is actually really limited there. Number 9 is my favorite, Bali. That's high rapid growth, a lot of international visitors every year, like guaranteed demand for vacation rentals. And so it offers high rental yields and capital appreciation compared to a lot of other countries. And then number 10 is also one of my favorites, is Nairobi, Kenya. Nairobi, Kenya is expanding in like urbanization and like a very high growing middle class. The city property has a lot of opportunities for income and potential rental. So I think overall, like the real estate market is very volatile, especially in the US. And so various factors, you gotta like, one, do your research, consider market conditions, and like obviously get professional advice. But those are my top 10. So like if I had to pick out of the 10, my next property will probably be another one in Bali, a second one in Austin where I live. Probably, I really like Turkey, and I've never been to Lisbon, and I really want to do something like that. And I might even do something in Kenya, and then Germany would be next for me. So does that help?
Nice. Is it true? Speaking about Bali, is it true that I hear like the local people in Bali are on there? They're pretty friendly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, very friendly, high culture. It has this very spiritual aspect of the country, which is part of their culture. So it's very warm and engaging. Yeah. Why are you thinking of buying in Indonesia?
I may. I may invest over there. Definitely sounds very attractive, and from what I've seen in videos here and there, it's a very beautiful place.
Yeah. Do you know how to go about doing that?
No, I wish I had somebody that could take me through the steps, but yeah, that'd be awesome.
Do you want me to tell you like some things to think about?
Yeah. What would you
like,
look
I-
for
okay.
looking for property and somewhere to invest?
Okay, so so one of the things when you're looking at Indonesia to navigate through the process is a lot of regulations and procedures that come along with it. So number one is like you got to research property laws, and property laws are really specific there in terms of like ownership restrictions, the way you use land, the property type, location, and whether or not you're a national. So like if you're a foreign investor or not, that's huge. Like a foreigner can't just come in there and like buy something. There's legal steps you have to do. So number two would be engaging in like a professional advisory group. So when I first started doing it, I actually got a developer that was boots on the ground and someone that was an attorney all the way to like the project manager to the construction. So I had everybody that was involved in the administrative side and market insights all the way to like the project itself that was part of the buying process, that was part of my team. So I met with them way before I even started like putting down money. So number three would be like looking at the property, whether or not it's like it's feasible for you. Just you can do apartments, condominiums, whatever that is, right? So part of the number step, but like I would say like the fourth part is due diligence. So due diligence, you have to look at like legal verifications. You got to engage an attorney. Like I would be on the phone with my attorney over there, looking at documents, reading things about like permits, certificates of rights on the land. So like in Bali, there's things called like right to use or land agency that are specific, that are really there. So like you can't own land there. Like as a foreigner, you have to like lease it for 25 years to 30 years. And then you build on the property. So like I can never go out there as a foreigner unless I become a national. So I just recently started doing a visa for myself, which is part of my attorney. And then the last piece, which is really critical, actually two more pieces, is the financing piece. So like a foreign investor can't just go there and get a loan. You have to get cash up front. So you pay within the purchase agreement, the cash for financing for non-residents. So like before you put down money, you have to stage it within certain requirements of the construction phases. Like I had 5 phases, but you have to make a loan down there. So it's even difficult for like a foreigner to actually buy in Indonesia themselves. You have to do it with all cash. But you also have to reserve things like for taxes in advance, and like all the transfer taxes, legal taxes, registration fees, like things that you wouldn't think I wouldn't call and go there and like go to like what we do in the US, like get a deed and like go to a closing. Everything's kind of done on WhatsApp and like with my attorney, kind of quickly and in a very unstructured way, but you have to know everything up front, and it's outlined in the purchase agreement on what you have to do. So there's like all the necessary paperwork. Not only that, but like you have to have a proper bank account and all that stuff. So the last thing I would say is like when you finish the transaction, which is what I did, I actually went out there and like saw the place to make sure it was legit, met everybody, and then you secure the purchase agreement way in advance. You go out there, finish the paperwork. Like I had to go get fingerprinted with the government and like interview with them and show that I legit business. Like I created an LLC over there, and then you register the property. And the property is actually part of the local land process, which is like the registration process that gives you the certificate, which is equivalent to the deed in the US. And then the transfer of ownership happens. But when that happens, it's like you start being able to like market the property. So like now I can market my property, but it's very critical to do all that stuff with knowing the laws, because a lot of people will consult the professionals and then they decide to like not do it at all.
Oh
because there's so many steps. It's very difficult. Like there's a couple times where I had a hard time like thinking, oh my God, am I doing the right thing? But in the end of the day, I'm glad I did, because now I can build a portfolio that I want. I think it's a lot more affordable than just buying like in the US. Like that helps. Does that help you?
Oh, definitely. And just like someone told me a long time ago, anything worth doing isn't easy, and anything that's easy isn't worth doing. So definitely, I'm glad you were able to, come out and persevere through any struggles that you may have had. And I'm honestly, possibly, lays the trail for any investors coming in behind you. So I'm very grateful for sharing that. I did have so one question as an investor.
Yeah.
What may you be looking at, or a future investor be looking at, like in maintenance?
Maintenance. So mine was all new construction. So like maintenance is hard to anticipate unless you look at it like from a supply chain, specifically around the products, like the infrastructure of the house. You have to estimate the cost in advance. And so one of the things that I had to do, which was really, the developer did the heavy lifting with the architect. I also hired an architect, which they had to estimate all the cost of like the glass in my windows, or like, mine was concrete, how much the labor was. Like labor is very difficult to get in Bali as well. Like I can't just go there and like hire like 20 people. It's literally, we import people from villages from another island to like work on my property. So, and they work on a religious schedule, because like it's they don't work, it's a little bit slower. So like for 5 people to 1 person in the US is like, that's what you expect to like do it. So my construction took a little bit longer. And so the maintenance part is like, it's really hard to maintain the budget on the maintenance, because one, it's new construction, and 2, it's like labor. And so when we had that whole supply chain with like issues with product that I couldn't get, the developer would call me like, hey Becky, I can't get you the blah blah blah, can we get it like this? Like it's as basic as like glass. Like I had to hire a new glass cutter who would like cut the glass, put it on a truck. It's like 30-foot glass, 3 of them. Put it on a truck, hire them, cut it again, install it. Like it was really challenging. So all those things, like I would kind of have a say in, but it was really mostly my developer that did all the work. But I would get these calls at night like, hey, we're gonna change your blah 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 because of this, and it would always go back to like my architect plan. Like, what's the architect plan, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thankfully, they were able to help with the logistics of that planning. That's definitely a good support group and good team that you got going over there. Sounds like.
So Daryl, like a funny story is that like Bali rains a lot, right? So these are like third world problems. I would have calls. I would call my developer when it was like pouring rain over there. I'm like, hey, is my villa like in the river right now? Like it's third world problems. He's like, no, Becky, you're on the hill. But there is some leakage, you got to do this. And then you'd send me a picture. I'd be freaking out, because like water damage in the US is like really bad, right? So yeah, so that would be like third world problems. Like, okay, fix my water. I just need to see it like done, So yeah, that would be the third world problems that we have.
Yeah, that's a tremendous level of trust that I'm sure that you've developed. I can only imagine, that phone call that everybody dreads at 2 a.m. saying, hey, the villa's swimming in its, imagine a natural wave that occurred in a couple of hours.
Yeah. Like the other day I had a 2 o'clock in the morning call like, hey, Becky, your palm tree fell off. I'm like, what? The winds are really bad. We have borderline, heavy winds. And they took me a picture. Like, it's like a little palm tree that fell over. But it was like a big deal. It's like 50 feet tall. I'm like, all right, well, get, for me, fix it. Like, go get a stick and like, I don't care. Just put a Band-Aid on it. I don't, as long as like it's safe. Third world problems, right? But it can't be like, I can't just go to Home Depot and buy like something. Right? Yeah, like I can't just go to Home Depot and like buy a palm tree. I had to like get it exported. Like even when as basic as like buying a mattress, I had to export it from another island. Like I couldn't just go there, and just Amazon Prime it. It's very frustrating. So there are times I was very frustrated. And most.
I'm now that frustration turns into definitely worth it, because I can only assume that staying there, a night or two is well worth.
Oh, it's worth it.
The right. So
yeah.
Now, and I'm guessing you have a good property set up and a nice property.
Yeah.
And where would I go to find that property if I wanted to go and visit, so I could go scout for land for me as an investor? Is your property up and running?
It's up and running. It's on Airbnb and Bookings and like other websites, but I get more play on Booking, which is more international, yeah, so like on there I'm listed as like all the furniture is eco-friendly. I solicit like people from locals to, everything in the house is like man-made. So it's all about sustainability, and so I'm getting ranked higher at Bookings because it says eco-friendly sustainability house, like, and you can see it, like everything down to like the straws are like the straws are bamboo. I like went to the plantation, the coffee plantation, and got the coffee, saw how it's made, saw how the bamboo straws are made. All my furniture is like certain unique woods that are only purchased through the government. Like my dining room table is made out of rosewood, and rosewood is illegal to export. You can only find it in Bali. And then I had it made with a glass, like it's basically a tree trunk, 3 legs, glass, and they made it like there's only 2 tables like that in the world, and I have one of them. So
that's beautiful.
I know. Like the bed is made out of like hand carved from Ubud. Ubud's like known for centuries of hand carving, and like it's made out of this. I mean, it's like a work of art. So, yeah. Does that help?
So that's great to have the eco-friendly sustainability, and just have that the furniture and the stuff.
Yeah.
Be, basically indigenous to the island.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's pretty.
It's part of the experience, right? So like my villa is like not only, a beautiful place in Canggu, but it's a beautiful place where you experience like kind of like eco-friendly, sustainable living lifestyle. Like everything there is, you just live off the property, and I don't know, it's just very different from all the other places. 5 minutes from the beach, you can go surfing. I have a private chef and private driver if you want. Yeah, outdoor shower, infinity pool.
Infinity pool, wow.
Upstairs, there's an upstairs patio where you can sleep outside. Or you can have I'm probably gonna have an outdoor office with plants and stuff. Yeah. Be one with nature. Watch the sunset.
It sounds very attractive. I might just have to.
You might have to just come, Daryl.
Make sure you send that link, so
I will.
Definitely sound something I can go and scout, and who knows, maybe I'll get property next to yours.
I know, everyone wants to move next to me. They're like, can I move next to you? I'm like, yes. Oh my gosh. Anyway.
Okay, now how did your time, like how long? We talk about time in building, it does take a little bit more time. So let's say how much overall from you saying, hey, this is a beautiful spot, let's start here, to them, getting everything done, and then getting furnished. Let's just include that time. So how much time can you walk me through?
Yep. The due diligence probably took about 6 to 8 months. Like interviewing developers, talking to people. Once that was secured, he had a plan of a year and a half to build the house. Like I'm talking like land, dirt. We had to build a road and stuff like that. Like put down wires and electricity, and so a year and a half. Within the year and a half, I probably went to visit when they were in phase 2, which is like more the structure of it, right? The structure of the house. Once we finished, we always had delays, right? So I would say a year and a half, I probably spent within 3 months there. I came back twice, once to check on the property, and then once to buy furniture. So within like 2 weeks, I bought all the furniture. Like I did it pretty quickly, right? But it's very difficult. And then now it's up and running. Probably end to end is like probably 2.5 years, like on the slow side. You know what I mean? Like 2 years, yeah. Yep.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Now, as an investor, right? Investing in a foreign country,
Oh my God.
what were your greatest hurdles financially in the sense of, did you have to go to a local bank over there? Did you use one here and then send money, or
No, so you have to show.
How does it work?
Yeah, so everything's paid in cash. You have to show proof of funds. So as long as I made the first initial deposit, I had to worry about the rest of the payments because I knew what my payment plans were. So based on each construction, you don't meet that, then you basically have to forego the property. So they don't want to know that you got a loan. They only want cash.
Right, so as long as you, and what was it, was it a little nerve-wracking, and I'm sure
Yes.
diligence had a lot to come in with it, with trusting, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Some foreign investors out there are very nervous with dealing with cash, so I'm sure.
100%.
How did you feel? How did it make you feel?
Oh, I didn't tell a soul that I was doing this when I first decided to embark on this. I didn't tell one soul because I'm putting like my hard-earned savings in this. And when I had to make the first payment, so everything in Asia is like done through WhatsApp. Like I knew my developer's first name. I didn't really know his last name. I did eventually, but I got him referred to somebody else that indirectly. But anyway, so he was building a house for somebody else, this other influencer that I really like. But we were doing it together. We're actually neighbors. And so I was freaking out when I first made the first payment. Freaking out because I was talking to him on WhatsApp and I'm like, oh my God. His name's Ellie. Ellie, am I sending this money to Nigeria somewhere? You know, like, are you like a real person? Like, I literally freaked out. He's like, Becky, yes, I know it's scary, blah, blah, blah. And then I just basically sent it. And I said, Ellie, right now, I cannot send the second payment unless I fly out there. It was during COVID. So you can fly out there. Like, you have to like quarantine for 2 weeks. And he's like, okay, but you got to quarantine for 2 weeks. So I quarantined for 2 weeks. I just went down to like 1 week in this like little hotel in the middle of Jakarta. Like, you had to get picked up by the airport. Like, it was literally straight out of a movie where people with hazmats on, suits on, and like they pick you up in a separate car. They put you in this hotel and they would feed you like tray of food underneath the hotel room. Like, you can leave your room. I had to quarantine there for like a week. And then I flew to Bali. Then I met my whole team, which is really critical. I met him, who I've talked to a billion times, but I met the project manager, the construction team. And I went to the thing, and once I saw it, I was like, all right, this is really happening. But when I first did it, I was freaking out, Daryl. Like, he would send me pictures of a dirt road. Like, here's your property, this dirt road. I'm like, what? You probably, this dirt road? Like, he literally would send me a picture of a dirt road. I'm like, yeah, we're breaking ground right now. I'm like, what? You probably pulled that off the internet. I didn't tell a soul. I was freaking out, and then only I told a soul when I like went the second time, and I started telling some of my friends. God forbid I told my parents, they were freaking out, but. Yeah, when it's like now it's done. Like, oh my! I had like a delayed reaction when it was finished, like in feeling like great gratitude. I'm like, oh my God, we really did it. But even when I sent the last payment out, I was like, oh my God, please, like, we were having like Bali issues, and even when I was there trying to buy furniture, I was sort of freaking out too. Like, where's the mattress? Why don't we have curtains? Like, it was really silly. Yeah. Like, why is it so hard to get a mattress? Why can't I get a water dispenser? Like, why is it so hard? Basically.
Where's the nearest Bed Bath & Beyond?
Where's Home Depot? Like, I would go to Home Depot and it was like 3 aisles. It's not the same thing. They don't have the same everything. Like, it was really hard for me to buy like sheets. You know, sheets? Like bed sheets? Yeah.
Right.
Because every store is like small inventory, and it was like, do you want white sheets or white sheets? I didn't really have a choice. I'm like, I guess I'll take white sheets, like, you know.
Right.
Or the hardest, one of the hardest things I thought was was curtains. You know, curtains.
Yeah, curtains.
So curtains, I had to. Well, I can't just like Amazon Prime it, right, Daryl?
Right.
So I would have I would call my project manager like, hey, I need curtains. I want these like flowy white, like I'm in a tropical country, and like I want the dark out curtains where you can sleep and like I don't want to see anything, right? So he goes, no problem, no problem. And then next thing I know, I see 3 human beings roll up with their backpacks on their scooter to my house. They're like, here are the curtains. I'm like, and they pull out this binder, like this 3-ring binder with like this material flying out. And like, which color do you want? And it was like, I felt like I was in like Morocco picking out material, right?
Right.
And I was like, I just want white curtains and I want brown taupe curtains. And he's like, well, what about this? What kind of style? I mean, everything's so detailed oriented, like everything. Like we were talking about like we got to the point where like, how many inches off the ground do you want? 1 inch or 2 inches or 2 to 4? I'm like, I don't know. 2.
Right? Just get it done. You're like,
I'm like, just get it done. I like, this is too much decision fatigue for me. Like, you know, but it turned out really well. Like they basically did a great job. I mean, like to the point where it was like so perfect. Like even the way they did my kitchen, and yeah. So I appreciate that.
That's wonderful. That's so wonderful. That's great. Man, I can only imagine. Definitely a lot of spa days having to deal with such an external. But you know what? I think, and you might agree with me. Maybe it was definitely worth it, huh?
Oh, so worth it.
To invest, because if not, I can only imagine, if I have my $100,000 just rotting away in the bank, I couldn't imagine doing that. That's definitely why you got to put it to work. So, but this is something nice to look into, and definitely an option, very viable. And you know what? I commend you. This is, like I said before, definitely a trailblazer, because you went out doing it, and thankfully the people you ran into, and then during COVID, you just like, hey man, I gotta get out there, and you did it, man. You did it, and congratulations, 2 years later.
Thank you.
I'm happy for you, and your journey, and definitely not gonna stop here, but I appreciate the knowledge and the wisdom that you're putting out there now, and definitely encouraging for other investors and future investors that it doesn't just have to be here, different things, that you can invest internationally as well. Just obviously, you can't just hit up everybody on WhatsApp and give them the money, but do your due diligence, and then you find the right people. Word of mouth is strong. All these reviews on companies and stuff, but
so like where I can help people is like people like foreign investors who want to make investments overseas. I can kind of guide them on a consulting basis, or just help them refer people, etc. So that's what I really want to do, because I think I can make people's dreams come true. It's like the fear of it, like not knowing, like once you get the information and like reputable team underneath you, then you got to do their due diligence on like what local markets you want, based upon your lifestyle. Like this is where I'm going to invest and retire, right? So like retire meaning like live there part-time, or
it definitely sounds like a peaceful place. And then I mean, here is where you learn to fly or fall, and it's great that you were able to not fall, but you flew, so that's great. And then you can turn around, and I know you're going to lend a hand and show future investors, and that's great. That's awesome. It just gives me faith, so that I can come and if there's more people like you willing to help, and to give a hand up to future investors as well. And then maybe we can work together in the future.
Yeah, call me.
That'd be nice. Definitely. I could use a very knowledgeable consultant. So definitely we'll do that.
All right, Daryl.
It's been a pleasure as always, Becky.
It's always a pleasure.
Giving me your time and answering a few of my questions. And then
You're welcome.
I look forward to the next time I'll give you a call.
All right, give me a call. Talk to you soon.
Awesome.
Bye.
Talk to you soon.